Thank you, Jim. This is the October meeting of the Northborough Conservation Commission, and my name is Greg Young. I'm the chair of the commission. This open meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16th, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northborough Conservation Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. This order allows the Northborough Conservation Commission to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Justin Dufresne.
Here.
Diane Goldner.
Here.
Todd Helwig. Nope, don't see Todd yet. Kelly Marston.
Here.
All right. Staff, when I call your name, please respond. Mia McDonald. Mia might
Here.
be in the phone. You there? Is that you? Thank you, Mia. And Jim DiGiulio.
Here.
Thank you. Some ground rules. The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote taken by the commission will be conducted by roll call vote. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. By phone, dial *9 to raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Please note that part of your phone number will be visible to those viewing the meeting. By Zoom, click Raise Hand on the bottom of your screen and wait to be recognized. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, the chair will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Okay, we do have a quorum, Mia, so we can move to the meeting minutes for September. Nobody was absent, so we have 4 voters here. Any questions or comments? Yes, 1, 2, 3. Nope, I'm sorry, we don't. My mistake. We're light by 1 still. Any word from Todd?
Todd is on his way. Did we lose? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is fine.
1, 2, 3. Yes, we do. That's very good.
Yep.
Diane, Kelly, you, Justin, myself. Okay, fine.
And they were all here
Um,
last
Does
month.
anybody have any questions or comments about the September meeting minutes?
I thought they were very well done. Very, concise.
They are very well done. They are consistently well done. You're right, Diane. Everybody's good? No questions, comments, concerns? Then we need a motion to move forward.
I move that we accept the minutes of September. This is October.
Yes, September meeting.
September meeting.
I second.
Seconded by Kelly. Roll call vote. Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Done with those. So we have 2 continuations, right? Both 0 Hudson Street and 190 Howard.
That's right.
Okay.
We've requested to continue to the November meeting.
Okay. I think we've got the right quorum for those, right? Because everybody's been involved in these discussions.
It's just a
I would open-
continuance, so no new information will be presented, so
Yep.
anyone can grant the request.
Okay. So we need motions to continue those two applications.
Make a motion to continue 0 Hudson Street and 190 Howard Street to our next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second,
My pinky promise.
Seconded by Diane. Roll call vote. Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Welcome, Todd.
I'm welcomed.
You are welcome. All right. Let's see who we have for. Just checking who we have. Brian, so we're going to go to to 85 West Street, all right?
Yes.
I'm going to bring Brian in. Okay.
I got the wrong plan up. Hang on.
Hello, Brian, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you and we can actually see you.
I'm not sure that's a good thing, but
Here we go. Brian, anybody else that you want to have involved in this discussion from the attendees?
I don't believe so. I think I'm the only one tonight.
Okay. All right.
If you see Brant Viner or maybe Michelle Gillespie, that would be it.
Okay. I do not see either one right now.
Okay.
So what's going on with 85 West Street?
Okay, so this is the a project change request for this is the 85 West Street Common Drive project. DEP file number 247-1189, which was approved with the order of conditions issued back in May 4th of this year.
Yep.
And so this is in regard to the driveway to 85, the existing house at 85. So as you may recall, and Mia, maybe you can bring up that restoration plan.
Jim, could you allow me to share my screen?
Sorry about that. I'll change that now.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, should be all set.
Thanks.
Okay, good. So this, as part of the original notice of intent filing and discussions, we needed one waiver, and so to accommodate, offsetting or mitigation, we proposed to remove the existing paved driveway that runs up to the home at 85. Essentially because it's within 4 to 15 feet average next to that bordering vegetated wetland. So the plan is to remove that driveway and restore it. As you can see on the top area is what's being removed. It's not only the main driveway, but a little finger that shoots off next to that isolated wetland. And then the homeowners would get a new driveway coming off the common drive up to their home, which ties back into the pavement by the garage. On the lower part there, you can see the proposed plantings, which would be conservation seed mix on the ground, as well as shrubs and tree plantings. And more recently, now that the contractor is mobilized for the initial phase of the common drive construction, which is from West Street up to Station 300, and including creating this proposed the driveway up to 85. So the owners, the Viner, Brent Viner and Margaret Harling, were contacted by the owners of 85 about, as you can see, there's about 1,400 square feet of where the new proposed driveway cuts through the woods. So there's about 1,400 square feet that was approved under the order to be cleared as part of the new driveway. So the new owners had concerns over some large pines that are near the house. Some branches come down, and there's also a large stressed red maple. So they figured, while there's a contractor in removing the trees for the driveway, could they piggyback on that and remove some of these large pines and a couple of the other trees. As you can see on that bottom plan with the red circles right in front of directly in front of the home, there are 5 of them that are directly in the buffer zone that weren't approved as part of the driveway removal. So we're requesting a project change to remove those trees. That would be, it's pretty flat in there. That would be graded as a lawn area. They were assuming part of the driveway removal will be lawn, which we said, no, it's going to be restored. So they have 2 young children. They'd like to have a little lawn area in the front there. So while they were removing the trees, they requested that would be lawn. So there's about 830 square feet within the buffer zone. Those trees are about 70 feet from the adjacent wetland, and obviously you'd have the existing drive between there and then the restored area. The area where the proposed driveway is coming out is approximately 4,500 square feet. So with the new driveway, and if this 830 square foot of additional tree clearing is granted, there'd be 2,200. So there'd still be a net increase in restored buffer directly adjacent to the wetland of approximately 2,300 square feet. Flow patterns will be the same through this little area. As you can see, there'll be still vegetated areas, a vegetated buffer zone. So we wanted to reach out. Whether they have a tree clearer coming in soon with a crane to remove a lot of these trees because they are, within distance to the house. So this is not simply just get in there with a chainsaw and cut a couple of trees. So while the crane was in there before everything gets finished and restored, we thought it would be best to discuss this now and see if it could be done under the current order while there's construction supervision ongoing and before everything is restored. Instead of them coming back at a different date, filing for those as removal as a separate filing, after everything's restored and finished. So that's where we stand right now, is the request to remove those 5 key trees, which is a 24-inch pine, 15-inch stressed red maple, an 8-inch and a 6-inch red maple, and an 8-inch hemlock tree.
Brian, am I looking at this correctly? Are there 5 trees in the buffer and 2 out?
Yeah, there's 2. The 2 with the dash circle are right just outside the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yes.
And the other 5 solid circles are within the 100-foot buffer zone that's labeled there on the plan. And then what we did is, to offset those removal, we added additional shrubs and trees that you can see in the red circles back within that additional, the driveway removal to offset these additional trees. Like I said, there's still a net benefit of almost 2,300 square feet of restored buffer directly adjacent to the wetland if this is allowed.
Okay. All right, good. Mia, what's your position here?
Should we share the photos?
Sure, if you have them, yeah.
Okay. My opinion is just that if the homeowner had come in requesting installation of a lawn 50+ feet from a wetland, the commission would allow them to do it under an order, definitely. But this site, is extremely altered already. We've talked about the meadow and the woods that are being lost and development of the site. So I think those have to be weighed. And I'm just looking forward to hearing you guys discuss it and come to a conclusion. It's a tough one. This is the area. It is a wooded area.
Yep.
It's more than just tree removal.
Where's the lawn? Do we picture where the lawn would go to?
This is it.
The lawn's gonna go where we see that, the red X tree.
Yeah, if you see the orange, excuse me, the orange X tree is proposed to be removed beyond the scope of the order of conditions. The ones that if you can see the orange and black stripe flagging in there, those are trees that we flagged to be saved, that are staying in the buffer zone to be saved.
Mhm.
And then if you can go to the next picture, Mia, we might see some of the pink. Okay, the pink X are the trees that were within the driveway, the new driveway corridor that were approved under the order of conditions. And you can see directly behind it, a tree with orange and black flagging. Those are to be saved. You can also see a green fence post there. That's part of the old chicken coop and the fenced area. And then just to the left of Mia's cursor, to the left of that tree that's to be saved, is the 24-inch pine to be removed right there. So you can see
Okay.
there's not a lot of ground cover. There are some small saplings in there. So that's the area that everything to the right is staying wooded. Yes, right there. Oh, if you go back to that picture.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that orange stake with the orange flagging there, that's the center line of the proposed driveway where it's coming in and tying back into the existing drive. Everything back, the driveway back to the truck, that's all to be removed and restored.
Mm-hmm.
So the driveway is going off to your left here with the, in between the trees there with the pink X's, those are the approved driveway clearing. And then the
Okay.
lawn area would be about another 30 feet to your left in this picture, if you will.
And it's relatively flat, you say, that area?
Yeah, yep. And it's not proposed to be filled. They're gonna basically take it down to grade, stump those few extra trees. Mia, can you go back to the other photo, please?
This
So
one?
between where these trees you're looking at, so that X in front of you is pink. The driveway is to the right of that tree. And then to the left, you can see the tree that is flagged to be saved. And there's other trees to the left here that are flagged to be saved as well. So it's not clear cutting that entire thing. There is going to be a vegetated buffer between the proposed tree clearing and lawn area and the driveway. So can you go back to the restoration plan, Mia, please?
Sure. Well, I just want to point out here too. So this
Yeah.
is the front of the house.
Yeah.
And this area here will be, the forest mat will be removed, the saplings will be removed. We talked about the trees to be removed, the trees to be saved. This will be the lawn area.
In the middle there, you can see the three large maples, those are to be saved. Right there, you can see in the middle with the flagging on them. They had
Yeah.
orange X's, but we flagged those to be saved, so those are not going. It's that big pine to the right and the stressed maple there to the right, yeah. Yeah, if you go back to the restoration plan, let's see. Yeah, if you can see the orange, the red circles. Can you pan up just a hair, Mia, please? Yep, keep going. Yeah, there. So you can see the squiggly tree line there on the bottom. Oh, I think we slid off again, at least on my screen. I can't see it.
Oh, you want to see the rest?
The
proposed plan?
bottom view. Yeah, there
Okay.
we go. So the trees that'll be saved, I don't know if you can make it out in there. We have some dots with M's next to them. Those are the maples you saw flagged with orange flagging. So those are to be saved. So it's just the area where the red circles are that would come out. So there would still be a wooded buffer between the driveway and where they're proposing the tree removal in the small lawn area. That's within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Okay.
And like I said, that clearing is about 70 feet from the wetland, but obviously in between the new driveway and the restored area.
Right, and the restored area is going to be between the wetlands and this new proposed area.
Yes, the restored driveway is anywhere from, right now, the existing driveway is anywhere from 4 to 15 feet from the edge of the wetland. So now that will become, anywhere from 15 to, 40 or 45 feet.
Okay. Well, me, I mean, my personal situation is that, as you said earlier, if a homeowner came in with this request only without the larger project around it, we'd most likely allow that to happen with maybe some caveats around stumping or whatever. But I'm interested what the commission has to say on this.
I think similar, Greg. I mean, I think we just had one of these maybe a month or two ago with a bunch of hazard trees close to a house too. And, this one, they're even proposing to not only just remove those trees, but also add the new trees kind of all down closer to the wetlands too, to kind of compensate for that. So, I mean, I think from my standpoint, I'd be fine with this change.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Todd's good with that? Okay. Any more comments or questions? I should probably take public comments, Mia, yes?
Yes.
Any questions or comments from anybody on the phone or on the Zoom call? Okay. Seeing none. Mia, is there anything we can do about it? Do we want to worry about, it looks like a tough place to grow a lawn. I mean, not a lot of sun. Can we do something about limiting the amount of fertilizer being thrown in there to protect the wetlands?
I think that is already in their order of conditions. There's a fertilizer restriction.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a
Within the
low
buffer.
phosphorus and things like that in there.
Okay. No other requirements you can think of, Mia?
No, I did speak to the contractor, just to ask him about his tree guy, because, I don't mean to criticize tree guys, site clearing personnel, but sometimes they overcut or, so I said, is this your trusted tree guy, or is this, your cousin who's starting out? And he said, this is a great tree guy. And he trusts him completely to be able to follow the plan.
Right.
So I just want it noted in the minutes that, this is a very detailed plan. I love the plan Brian put together. He's really, compliment to you, Brian. You're very good at restoration and planting plans and getting the right species and the right spacing. And I'm going to look like a crazy person when I'm out there counting trees, but I am, and it's not going to be exact. It's not going to be like, there's 5 maples and 2 ash, you're out of here. It's not going to be that bad. But if I'm seeing those little M's that are supposed to be saved, if they all get knocked down, and, we're going to have to ask for a replanting. Just if, my bobcat hit it, go and buy a new red maple. So
That's why I flagged them up good, and we gave the contractor a key sheet that has, it's a pink X that goes as part of the driveway. If it's orange X only if it gets approved, and then the ones that are flagged with the orange and black stripe flagging are not to be touched. So you may want to put in there, Mia, or we can certainly follow up with the contractor that before they start cutting, that you're on site. Maybe we do a walkthrough with the tree cutter, just so it's hammered into his head that what is to go and know what's not to go.
well, according to the contract, you said if he has the plan, and if you guys approve this plan, he's given this plan. The contractor said his tree guy will follow the plan.
Okay.
And the contractor, when we did the erosion control walkthrough, he had the plan in hand too. Like he had a copy of the order, he had the plan. He had Waterman stake it out. They hired a good erosion control installation group who followed the stakes. So they're following the rules so far.
And when do they want to start
Haven't
the
had
cutting,
any
do you know?
problems.
Thursday morning, I believe.
And how long do you think it's going to go for?
Well, if they have a crane and a good crew, it might be 2 days, a day or 2 days. I'm not sure on this crew, but there's some sizable trees, but they are going to do a crane, and these guys are pretty proficient. And from what as Mia mentioned, the contractor said this guy's, very well equipped and ready to go. So
Okay.
I would estimate 2 days, probably max with all those trees. Maybe it's 3, but
Yeah, Mia, you'll do a site check at least, I would think, one of those days, right?
Yeah, I don't like to get in the way of the tree guys.
Good idea.
That's how that happens.
one of us
Okay.
will be stopping out as well, and we're in contact with the contractor site supervisor Andy Russo as well, so.
So we want to vote this, correct, Mia?
Yes, that it's that this is an insignificant project change and you accept the modified restoration plan with the new lawn and the additional plantings.
Okay,
Mia, I have a question. I can't
Yes.
remember. Do we have it, the wetland areas signed? I think grass and I think grass clippings and dumping of grass clippings. Do we have
Good
it
point.
It's a
signed?
good idea.
Just so those clippings. don't
None in
end up
this
like-
area.
Okay. Should we put a small marker there somewhere? Or just
Think.
have a conversation with them about where grass clippings should and shouldn't go?
Do you remember where the permanent markers were, Brian?
Yeah, they were along the wet meadow.
Yeah, way over to the left
Behind the
along.
edge, behind the edge of the basin. I would imagine when they get those signs made up, if you want to put, 2 more along the restored driveway area. I would think that'd be a safe bet because you're already gonna have the new driveway with a break in between it as well, so.
So
1 or 2
let me
additional
share.
signs there would probably be fine.
Can you see my screen again?
yes.
Yeah.
So maybe 2 signs along here that say
Well,
like restored
no,
area.
they- Well, I'd probably
Here.
go see where the driveway turns in. We have protect and retain tree and island. You're restoring that area. You might want one up there where the elbow of the driveway is, and then maybe one down by the
Oh,
isolated wetlands. Yeah, somewhere up to the
here,
left.
and then
Yeah, along the
here.
edge of the driveway there. If a landscape guy's parked up there, that's gonna be the first place he's gonna throw his stuff.
Okay. So we
For the
can't
cost-
condition
Cost of a
this.
sign, for the cost of a sign, maybe you do 3.
Okay, well,
And maybe-
they're ugly and it's their yard.
Yeah,
Could you
I think-
add those to the plan?
yep.
Okay,
I mean, and when things get done and are nearly stabilized and you're ready for the signs, that might be something we just walk and maybe in the field, it's easier to see and say, okay, a sign should go here.
We may choose to change locations once we see what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think they're written in stone. If we throw them on the plan, that exact location, we can move them around.
but if I can't condition it, so if you could add it to the plan and resub, it's a small change, but
Yeah,
resubmit.
I'll add a couple of the signs. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more comments before we take this forward? Okay, then we need a motion.
Move to close the hearing.
The motion is to accept it as an insignificant project change.
It's listed under public hearings, though.
Oh, is it? I should have made a break, sorry.
Every time-
Todd, you're right on top of things, though. Very good. Very
My
good.
mistake, I'm sorry.
All right, so I guess we'll move to a move to approve a insignificant project change for 85 West Street, subject to the plan that was shown to us.
Second,
Seconded by, was that Kelly?
yes.
Okay, roll call vote. Justin Dufresne,
Yes,
Diane Gouldner,
Yes,
Todd Helwig,
Yes,
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay.
Done.
Brian, did you want to bring up the other issue as well?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to call up the, probably the grading and drainage plan? I think it's sheet C3.
301?
Uh,
Yep, 301.
yeah, that's probably, should be the grading and drainage. Yeah, if you can zoom up where, the proposed driveway is, that'll kind of get us in that area. No, that's not the grading. Yeah, that's the plan. So just to catch everyone that's on the commission here tonight up to speed, and it's not part of this project change at this point. So we staked out the center line of the proposed drive up to Station 3. They've got all the erosion controls in. The contractor has started stripping the loam up to Station 3. And given how wet this year is, we're encountering some some high groundwater. So we're proposing to raise the road from approximately Station 1, which is just in off of West Street, up to Station 3, which is just south of the, or adjacent to that detention basin. So we met with Fred and Mia today, and we had our engineer kind of run a new profile. So that basin, Mia, can you put your cursor over the basin? Yeah, right there.
Right here.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that basin would come up approximately a foot. You know, it's shown at the bottom of the elevation of 320. They come up about 321, and the bank's up to about 323. And then the road in that section from about Station 1 to Station 3 would come up approximately 2 feet. This would actually help with grading. It would bring us back to almost existing grade in that lower area. We're running the vertical curves that Fred wanted us to run just to make sure that that there's not a conflict in the curves there. You know, Fred felt overall that it makes sense and it works. We're not changing the location or the layout. We're not increasing or changing the limit of disturbance. So that this could probably be done as a field change. We'd issue a plan, it'd be accepted as a field change, not a project change. We've discussed taking, can you put your cursor over STO1 there and STO 1.1? Yeah, to the left of the road. Yeah, where Mia's cursor is now. The plan would be to move those into the pavement and actually put a curb behind that and run it up to about Station 3 plus 50. That would eliminate that bit of swale on the side there. And allow us to catch that limited area of runoff and direct it directly to the catch basin and the treatment unit before it discharges to the basin, and it allows to shift the basin a little closer to the road to accommodate the rise in grading, but it'd be an easier tie back into the adjacent grade. So that's what we've spoken to Fred and Mia about today. They suggested we bring it up and at least start the conversation with the commission. We're working on plans as we speak to run a new profile, shift those two drainage structures over. They'd either stay as a catch basin, a drain inlet and a catch basin to a manhole before discharges, or we may try to add a stormwater treatment unit to gain even more TSS removal, since we'd be doing a small curb along the roadway there. So that's what we're running right now. As Mia pointed out, we have to show that the stormwater is still managed properly. But overall, you wouldn't really see much difference in this plan except for a slight shift in those two structures, and then the grades would be slightly different. Only up to about Station 3 plus 50, and then everything is exactly the same. So, so that's what we're looking at right now. This would help improve the stability of the road, the drainage. They'd be adding some additional stone underneath the drive. I mean, this is the wettest year we've had, so if we can do this the right way right now, it should assure a stable roadway for the future. So we would be coming back to you with a field change plan once we have it final designed and run it by Fred and Mia. And Fred said he'd like to just talk to Scott at the DPW, but Fred felt that, the changes be essentially the same stormwater management. It'd just be the layout be a little different, and there'd be more stability and better off grading if we can raise it to 2 feet. We just have to check the mathematics on which is above my head as far as like the vertical curves and things like that. Justin probably has a good rap on that, but I'll leave that to smarter people than me. But it's
Okay.
just that one limited area for about 250 feet.
So you're giving us a heads up tonight, Brian. That's the purpose.
Yep. Fred and Mia thought we should kick it off now. Hopefully we'll have a plan to Fred tomorrow, maybe. We've told the contractor he's kind of got to sit tight on that section until we get the final plan designed and have Fred sign off on it.
I mean, Brian, any concerns about increased velocity of flow?
No, we'd still be pretty flat there. The grade would still be only about 2.5%. It'd be a little steeper as you come in. Still meeting it's still, I think, about 2.5% as you come in. So it's pretty flat. We'd still be meeting the little bit of a dip off West Street so that we're not directing flows onto West Street. The driveway, like I said, we'd be matching existing grade on the north side a little better. And the road, it has no curbs on that side, so just be sheet flow across like it was designed previously.
Okay.
And the stormwater coming down the road still follows the same swales and into the drain inlets prior to going into the subsurface infiltration. So it's a very limited area that we would be directing to the curbs and then down to that,
Right.
the catchment units there.
Okay. All right. So we'll plan to see you back here next month with more detail, it sounds like.
Correct. Yep. Well, you may see it before that. Well, Fred and me obviously would, but
Yeah.
We're working on it ASAP. We don't want to hold the contractor up while we have good weather and get this done.
Okay. All right, good. Good.
So the question is if the commission will allow them to get these changes approved administratively and let them begin before the next meeting, or if you want to see the plans to approve it or not before they make the changes in the field.
Yeah, I guess the discussion was, can this be done as a field change? It's a plan that's revised and approved by Fred and Scott and Mia. And without filing an actual project change, it's a field change plan that's submitted and inserted into the plan set.
You mean both?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay. I mean, it's not like you're changing the location of the drive, the width of it. You're not adding, more impervious within the buffer. It's just
No.
really, looking at massaging some grades out there to work better with the groundwater conditions. So I'd be fine as long as Fred and Scott take a look at it. And
Yep.
Mia.
That's the plan, yes. I think Greg's locked up.
Oh, he may be stuck.
Yeah, I think he's locked up.
Oh, he's gone. Okay. Diane, can you see us?
Yes,
Okay. Do you mind taking over as chair?
yes.
Okay.
No,
Oh.
yeah. Where'd you go? Okay. Anyway, if everybody agrees, I don't see that there's a big reason to do anything more than just a field change, because you're just making a gradual uprising, if I dare to use that word. You're just kind of swinging it up a bit.
Yes, they'd be bringing it back up closer to existing grade instead of cutting it that much too, so that we get the stone in and keep it above that seasonal high groundwater. And it's not going to get any higher than this year.
Okay,
But we still have to make sure that the engineering, works for the site distance and layout, the vertical curves. And that's what Fred wanted to take a look at
okay,
and then see if, if we shift those two stormwater units into the road along with the curb, just to make sure that all works. So that's what we're working on right now, and we'll issue that to Fred and Scott and Mia as soon as we have it, hopefully sometime tomorrow.
Well, that won't be a big shift, though. I mean,
No, there's
it seems to
actually
me
no-
that everything that you're doing is just a sort of a minor degree of movement, right?
Right, it's vertical, it's not horizontal, essentially. It's, you
Right.
know, the road layout is not changing, the width isn't changing. It's just playing with some grades, essentially.
Okay. It works for me if it works for the rest of the crew.
Well, Greg's back.
Are you back?
Sorry, we had a little technical problem here.
Yes. That was fun.
Diane
We're
took
like-
the wheel.
Excellent job. Thank you, Diane. So
You were
where
like
are we?
frozen
with
in,
these?
you were frozen in time, Greg.
Yes, well. Anyway, I got moving right along from that. So where are we with this discussion?
Mia's muted.
Sounds like Justin and Diane are in favor. I'd like to hear from Todd and Kelly to make sure there is a consensus.
Yeah,
I'm
And
okay.
then,
that's
okay,
good.
I'm good with it.
okay. Then they can move forward with the field change. You don't have to take a vote because it's just
Good.
a field change.
Okay.
Does that get marked on the plan somehow? Right.
We'll have a new
That
plan
looks-
set.
Yeah, a whole new plan. Okay.
Yeah, so you would have a new plan that would just basically be, you know, slid into the plan set for the construction set.
Okay.
And this is initially just phase one. They only have approval to go up to essentially station 3+50. So they're trying to get down to, you know, binder course this year, and then next year they would continue up past it. So that's where we're
But
trying
you
to
gotta
move this.
stay to 300. Because I think 3+50 goes to another parcel and that would trigger the earth
Yeah,
removal
maybe it is
permit.
3 that we stopped. Yeah.
All right, so we're good with this then.
Yes.
I think so.
So we're not
Thank you
going to see
very
you
much.
next month, Brian. We're good unless something else comes up, but we're fine at this point.
No, hopefully you won't see me.
Okay. All right. All
All right, thank you so much. Take
Thanks,
care.
Brian.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. I mean, let's do the COCs are pretty straightforward, yes?
I think so.
Okay, let's
I
run
think
through
they're
both of those.
here.
And we'll talk about 40 Maple.
Okay. So I see the Bleakney family. They are the owners of 94 Pleasant Street.
Okay.
This was a septic replacement, but this site was unique. They're the ones with the Airstreams in the front, and they had the barn within the 30, like the
Oh,
shed
brilliant.
barn within 30.
Mhm.
And I have some photos. I did just visit right before the meeting, so I do need to share those photos.
Okay. Mr. Bleakley, you're now on the Zoom call.
Yes, I see. Hello.
Excellent.
Okay.
Oh, I remember this location. Didn't this have in back, it had like a shed, an older shed in back?
Yes.
Mhm. I'm going to share the photos. So that has been removed.
Good.
And the debris within the 25 foot was also removed. And I just visited it today. Let me see if I can move forward. So this is the backyard now.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned about the exposed soil. The wetlands are right here. There's another picture. We get closer. So this is exposed. The wetlands are right here.
Yep.
So I actually think we do need to ask for grass to be grown before you can issue this. And that was one of the conditions that the
Yeah.
area had to be stabilized. Yes.
Is this the red house or is this the blue house that Demano was just at?
I think I have a picture. I don't have a picture of the front of the house.
Yeah, it's Red House.
Okay.
Oh, it's the red house. Okay. That's what I thought. When you said Airstream, because I live on Pleasant Street. So I was like, I think that's the red house, but I saw Demano at the blue house. So I didn't know. Okay.
All right, so you're suggesting grasp seating there?
Yeah, it was part of the requirements and the order. Is that
Okay.
and it's for all of our septic replacement orders that the grass and, no exposed soil. Grass has to be grown. We have to see, usually it's after you've mowed it twice before you issue the certificate of compliance.
Okay. Yeah, we had grown back part of it, but this in going through and removing further debris, we found two different separate dumps from the original farm back in there, and trying to pull all the debris out. We made a mess of the yard, so I just regraded. I mean, like basically smoothed everything back out, and I was afraid to bring in someone and seed it with this one pending. I kind of like froze our plans in time until we could talk to everyone. So
It looks great. It just doesn't look finished.
yeah, of course, that makes sense. Yeah, so I can move forward with. I had a landscaper lined up to come through and basically do some hydro seeding, but I put that on hold until after I spoke with you guys.
Yeah, you pulled a lot of stuff out of there.
Oh, there was
There was a lot
There
of
was
old
so much-
farm equipment and everything else back there. I remember.
we were fine. There was like old man. Every time we dig a hole, we find stuff, old bottles and old batteries and all kinds of weird stuff. So it's good to get all that stuff out. But every time I try to pull a tree out, I mean, clear up an area, and
No.
Oh, we're frozen. Okay. Mr. Bleak, just so you know, we're frozen from the Zoom side here.
So it sounds like though from our end, we're gonna just allow them to seed it now and then maybe, doesn't sound like they're waiting, enough like a transaction to sell it or anything like that. So I guess we could probably just wait till the spring then, right?
I
Yeah, he
don't
was
know. They
talking
might
hydro
be.
seeding, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think we need to pull the hydro seeding back. Maybe install a wattle along the 15. I think this is a 15-foot. This was before. Let me check the date on the order. It's right
Okay.
on the agenda. Agenda. Yep, 11/28/2018. And your new bylaw was September 2019. So this was a 15-foot, no disturb. So maybe a wattle along the 15-foot and no hydro seeding beyond that area can just grow in naturally. Does that sound
Okay.
reasonable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I brought Mr. Bleakney back in.
Yeah, sorry,
good.
the laptop died.
No, we've had issues here tonight with already, so you're not the first. What Mia was saying, Mr., is that we'd like to have some sort of wattles out there around 15-foot mark, Leah, 15 foot, and then seed
Sure.
from there back. So we leave an empty space from the wattle into the wetlands. No seeding.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Then come back and you're fine. And that's as far as you want to go back.
Okay.
You want to get that done this fall? You want to? Can we still hydro seed in October, or is there a?
I don't know. That's where it's later than what I had originally planned with this. All this is kind of pushed off some of the stuff. It may be at the edge. I'd have to ask. We're in the middle of trying to actually purchase the house for my parents,
Yep.
and this is obviously holding up that process. So we're just trying to do whatever we have to do to kind of move forward with that. So
Okay. All right. So we're going to move ahead with the seating and some sort of wattles, right?
yeah,
So we will, if the seeding gets down this fall, Mia, and we start seeing some growth, when do we sign off the COC? We still need to have 2 cuts?
We need to see the grass grown.
Okay,
And that's a standard condition. It's not anything special to the site.
right. Well, we can hope for some warm days, so we can hope not too much rain. So
I mean, the other
Okay.
option is sod, but that's really
Well-
expensive.
that's really
Yeah.
pricey. Yeah.
I might have to go there just to get it all done.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of the questions I have is, can we sod the line instead of wattle?
Sod the 15, just the 15 foot?
I'm saying just the line itself, instead of putting wattle up, can we just put a line of 3-foot sod?
And then seed behind that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the limit of the 15 foot is because that 15 foot, it shouldn't be a lawn right up to the 0 foot. 0 to 15 should be wild and natural. So
Yeah,
if the
okay.
sod was then placed like at the 16 foot, it really depends on the elevation of the sod, because the wattle is there to keep the seed in the dirt from flowing into the wetlands during storm events.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do wattle anyways, just no matter what we do, just to
Okay.
get that erosion barrier.
Good.
Okay,
If you can wait till spring, I know sod is expensive if you don't want to sod. And if it looks like the seed, like they can't hydro seed and get the grass to grow this season, they sell a product with a tackifier in it, and there's not much price difference that the hydro seed companies have. You lay it down, it'll start popping up right through the melting snow.
okay,
And as soon as you get some growth in the spring, we can issue the certificate.
okay.
The other option is we can write a letter to the bank saying that, we generally do these, the commission would be, the commission met, discussed the project site, the only is satisfied with the removal of the debris and the installation of the septic system. The outstanding item is the growth of seed over the unstabilized dirt area. And then your bank would assign a value to that, and they would create a holdback. And I can imagine it would be more than $5,000. What do you think, Justin? Even that, like 2,000?
Yeah, I was
For
gonna say
seeding an
probably
area?
even less than that. Yeah, maybe a
Like
couple
your
thousand,
bank
but
would
it
assign a
be-
value.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah,
good way to
yeah.
just keep things moving if you want to get it done, certainly before the spring.
yeah,
That's an
yeah.
easy way.
I'm definitely, yes. I'm gonna want that. Yeah, we're actually scheduled to close this week. If we were, it's already been pushed off twice. And so yeah, we're whatever we can do would be awesome.
Do you want to do the letter saying that the
Yeah,
only
that would-
outstanding
yes,
item
please.
is the seeding?
Please,
That
yes.
often works with the bank. If you have
Okay.
a good bank, and they'll just assign a value and do a holdback.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing that'll work out with them.
And you guys don't have to vote. That's a standard administrative practice we do all the time for people.
Where do I
Hopefully-
purchase wattle?
What's that?
Where do I purchase wattles?
They have them at Home Depot. Call ahead because they're running
Okay.
out of everything lately, but
Okay.
Home Depot and those, they sell them in coils.
Okay, I just never remember seeing them there. Perfect.
And you stake them in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with how they. Yeah, I just wasn't sure where to get them.
I mean, there must be a waddles.com or something, right? So you can just-
Yeah, I'm sure. That'd be,
Ship it
I
to
could probably just buy them through Amazon. I'm sure.
Probably get on
Yeah.
Amazon.
Probably. And your landscaper might have some laying around that he can
Oh,
give
that's
you.
true. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I'll open up the conversation with him because yeah, that makes sense.
All right, good. Good.
All right.
Great progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then
I'm going to move them back. All right. How about 120 Hudson Street, Mia?
I did see John Oakes here. Is he still?
Yes, let me take a look here. I see a hand up.
Yep, that's him. He's the owner.
All right, let me get there. I will bring you in as a panelist, Mr. Oakes. All right, you're in and you're muted.
Unmute. How's that?
I can hear you perfectly.
Can you see
And
me
we can
now?
see you. It's perfect. Can see you as well. Okay.
Wow. Okay, technology.
It's amazing.
Anyway, so my project is complete. Mia did come by, I don't know, last week or whenever it was, and took a look. I don't know, Mia, did you have any, were you satisfied with the results or?
Yes, and I have some photos. Can you see them?
Yep. I've
Yep.
seen the photos.
Yep,
They look
this
really
is-
good too. So
Oh, that
These in the
looks nice.
Dropbox. That there's the
Mhm.
river back there.
yep.
This is the patio. The new retaining wall. This is the area we asked him to replant. It's beautiful. Did a nice job. It's all
Thank you.
replanted with native species. This is the slope. There's a fairly steep slope here. Everything's holding, everything's
Mhm.
succeeding.
Good. When can those erosion control devices come out?
I told him he could take them out that day because it was stable.
All right.
Oh, that looks quite different. The side over there.
Mhm. So everything was completed as approved.
Good.
And this is the other side with the rock wall in the garden.
Mhm. Well, nicely done.
Well, thank you. All it takes is money.
That's the best. Isn't that true, huh? Super.
Oh, God.
And some
Anyway.
good guidance from Mia. That helps out too, right? So
Oh,
there you go.
excellent.
And a good
Excellent.
landscaper.
Yeah,
Yes.
Who was the name of your landscaper?
it was
It was
DJ.
Davidian, right?
Davidian, yeah. Yeah, he did the work as far as that goes. And so, yeah, it was well done, done well as far as that goes.
Good.
I would recommend him for that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
Do you have any other questions as far as as far as the plant? We planted 36 plants on the slope of on the hill, as Mia had seen. We did, and then we also put down to keep the soil together. We also put down wood chips in order to stabilize it, so it wouldn't, after the plantings. So we did the whole thing.
Great. Super. Any
And
questions?
that's
from
all
the commission?
grown in. Yeah, we usually don't like wood chips because they turn into dirt, but the vegetation grew right over them.
Yeah, no, it's all over it. It was just really to protect it because afraid of, well, anyway, of having the soil, losing the soil. But it's everything is good at this point.
Okay. Very good. Good. If there's no questions from the commission, we will vote this.
Move to issue a certificate of compliance for 120 Hudson Street.
Second,
And by Diane, roll call, Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
All right.
Yes,
Right.
there you go.
Thank you.
All
Well
right.
done.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions or anything else you need, just let me know.
Well, thank you for your help and cooperation. Appreciate it.
No, thanks for working with me.
There you
Well-
go.
We'll see you around town.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This will-
All right. Yeah, that's a really nice job, Mia. Lily really looks well done. Very well done.
Yeah, the landscaper was really willing to work with me. It was very nice.
Okay, let's go to 40 Maple Lane. And I did see Mr. Regan here. I just have to find him. There he is. Okay. I'll bring you in, Mr. Regan. Oh, maybe you want to talk. No? Okay, you're now in the meeting.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. Yep.
All right, Mia, so what's going on? You want to set us up here a little bit?
Sure. So the previous owners had gotten a superseding order of conditions for construction of the house. And that's with the Mass DEP. So Mr. Regan called Mass DEP to come out and do a site visit for that to get a certificate of compliance. And when DEP also has our current order, and they were concerned about some of the things they saw. So they asked me to follow up and have a site visit and make sure the site was in compliance. And we did find three issues. Just quickly, there was some stockpiling of yard waste and debris within the 25-foot buffer in one area. The previously approved shed it was a structure that was approved at a previous order of conditions, had been extended to within the 35-foot no structure zone without a permit. And then the actual addition, it was a 263 square foot sunroom addition with concrete pad below. Looks to be a little larger than what was approved. So we'll start with the easiest, was the stockpile. Let me show you some site photos of what I found. And then Mr. Regan has been working on trying to bring the site into compliance since we met, which was October 7th. So it's only been 11 days and he's already started to try to bring the site into compliance. So this is the house, 40 Maple Lane. It's the blue house on the corner. This is the addition. You can see the previously approved shed, the sort of extension in the back is the new addition. This, you can see all this retaining wall. This was part of that superseding order with the, and these are just temporary supports for them to be able to do the siding. This is the stockpiling. It's mostly yard waste. There's an existing retainer that was falling over and a little bit of debris. And he has since sent me a picture that hopefully I can show you in here that he's removed this. So this is the original was for a sunroom with a concrete pad below. It has become a stairway. And then this concrete pad here is what was not in the approval. So that's the hardest part that we have to discuss. So let me see if I can get back. Mr. Regan sent some updates. This is the shed. He's already removed that extension on the back of the shed. It was a chicken coop.
Yeah, my wife wanted a chicken coop last year. So it took me like 3 days to build it. It wasn't fun, but I was glad to remove it.
Okay.
So.
All right. And
So
then
the addition is gone from the shed. Is that true? Correct?
That's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just a very lightweight construction chicken coop, and it's now in the dumpster that I have in my driveway.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the stockpile area. This has been moved. I haven't been back to visit the site, but it's not a huge yard. And he's an honest man, so I don't think he just threw it to the other side, outside the frame. So this is the
It's now
stockpile.
piled up by the street mirror, and I'm going to have somebody remove it. I took it out. It was because of a tree that fell down right near there, right in that area where you can see the photo. And it just, so I just pushed it over and, was going to just leave it there. And because I think at one point I spoke to you a year or two ago, and it said something falls down, just I can cut it up to make it a little less sightly, but I have to, but I agree it was stockpiled, it was pushed up and it didn't look good. And it is now removed.
Thank you. And so I think the last thing is the pad here. Did you measure the addition? Do you know what the square footage is currently of the addition?
The sunroom addition, the new addition is 16 by 22. And that concrete pad that you see there is 12 by 20. And I got, as you can see, you can see the retaining wall to the left, and that goes down to the wetlands. And the concrete pad is within the 30-foot buffer zone. And you can see the stone I have on all three sides of that. And yeah, it's just, it was never, me had never got any grass in that area. I had where the addition is now, there was a large patio a large deck. And I took the deck down, we put the addition up, and then you can see the stairs, and pretty much I got the cement under the stairs. And then because I have that man door, that's storage under there, it's a storage area. I decided to put the cement a little further out there so we, have clear walking. There's a lot of shade in the area. I didn't cut down any trees. It was just open. It was just an open area. It is a small area, but it was just open. There was never a lot of sun. As you can see from the photo, there's not a lot of sunlight getting in there. So it would just be dirt. And I have right now stone. It's been a very wet year and I've had no puddling, no issues. If it would rain and soon after there'd be no water there. So I think I contribute that to the stone around all three sides of the concrete. And yeah. So
was any of the concrete pad there, or was this all net new?
No, I did the concrete. There was no concrete there.
Okay.
It was just dirt. But the plan shows the stairs on the construction plans. It shows the stairs the way they are, and I have concrete underneath the stairs, and as you can see, it comes out several feet on either side of the stairs. And again, it's generally a small area, but I am within the 30 feet buffer zone. The wetlands are not, there's a retaining wall between the wetlands and the concrete cement pad. And again, I get a lot of stone, so I'm not an expert on what is typical here, but I don't have any issues with it myself, with any type of groundwater or any.
So Mia, it looks like the sunroom's about 35% bigger than what was approved. From 352 to 263. And the pad was not approved at all, right? So if someone had come here initially with this plan, would we have approved sonotubes or some sort of less invasive device, I guess?
I don't think you would have allowed the pad within the 35 foot. I think, crushed stone, because it's also in groundwater too. So we would have had to bring in the town engineer to see, I ran it by him, a 263 square foot addition was not going to trigger a groundwater review. But the larger addition and the pad, it is a significant increase in impervious over what was approved and also within the 35 foot buffer.
Okay. Well, I mean, one approach here, which certainly seems to be really heavy-handed, is you tear it out and do it the right way. That's significant. That's a significant impact to the homeowner.
Yeah, it was always my intent to put cement there by the stairs and especially underneath it. I have a heat pump underneath the deck, the new deck. So it was always my intent to put cement. And when I poured the cement, I didn't think for a second that it was going to affect anything. But when Mia was out there last, yes, she did mention it. And, it's something that I wasn't expecting. Again, I just want to be compliant and do what is right. But I think what I did is not an issue. But then again, maybe it is. I got all the stone around it. There's no puddling, there's no groundwater. I guess my question is what's negative? What is the cement pad causing? Is there a negative there that I'm not aware of? Is it affecting the wetlands in a way that's would make me non-compliant? So I just don't see it myself, but that's why the town has conservation people looking after it. So I just want to see if you could come up with and let me know how it's affecting the wetlands in the negative.
And what does that mean? A lot of times, we're a little more concerned with habitat loss and things like that within the 35 foot. I mean, here, a little different situation, right, Mia? That wall's been there for a while, right? And I mean, that would kind of prevent habitat and things like that too. So, I mean, I kind of feel like this is a little different, where we're not talking about a pristine 35 foot area next to the wetlands where nothing was happening. It's really kind of, that wall is almost the limit, right? It's kind of what was established here previously. And so I mean, yeah, there's a pad there now, the water's running off, it's infiltrating into that stone, it's still infiltrating into the ground. I don't know, from my standpoint, it seems like we've cleaned up a little bit. Mr. Regan's cleaned up a little bit on the property. I think we should just probably do an amendment to the order of conditions and kind of move on, but that's just my thought.
Okay. Anybody else have an opinion? Well, I know there are opinions out there, just haven't heard them yet.
I have nothing extra to add. How about that?
So are you saying you have nothing extra to add to Justin's recently announced position?
Yes.
Okay. Todd, where are you in this?
I'm trying to figure a way out of the box.
I know. Yep.
I mean, I'm inclined to figure out a way to make this work. That's where my heart is. But I haven't figured out a intellectually sufficient way to do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the whole thing on this that the water is still falling down on that pad? It's still going into the wetlands. It's not that big an impervious area. I would think that would, as long as he doesn't cover the rest of the yard with cement, he's just using the stone. So his yard is fairly natural. I would leave it.
I think the big issue is that it wasn't included in the original scope, because if it had been included in the original scope, we recently had a patio, it was conversion of lawn to patio. And the commission just asked for pervious pavers because they want to see the area recharged. The stone is helpful, but 1 inch stone is not a permanent solution. It does migrate long-term just under foot traffic. It's nice to hear that you're not having flooding, and there is that permanent barrier with a retaining wall. So we are looking at, existing lawn area. We're not experiencing habitat loss, but it is definitely beyond the approved scope. So how do we make it right? I heard Justin suggest an amendment. I think, an amendment. And then as long as the commission was open to this amendment that showed the actual full extent of the scope.
But the work was permitted prior to the buffer.
Work was permitted prior, it was 2019. So he had a 1530 buffers, but those don't really apply here because he's got that retaining wall on like the 5 foot anyway. Because now, Rich, I don't know if the buffers have gone up to 25, 35, 25 foot, no touch, 35, no structures from 1530. But this is a unique site because we have that retaining wall from the house construction.
I mean, if you put that picture up again that shows the the area we're talking about?
Oh, yeah,
Please.
sorry. I forgot that my screen wasn't being shared.
The stone is very
Oh.
deep between the pad, the cement pad on the left and the retaining wall. There's like 2 feet of stone that goes down there. And then as it comes closer to the right, the stone is starts to come up. And then you can see to the right, you can see that there's some dirt there. And that's how the site has always been because of the trees in the area. And again, I didn't remove any trees or anything. But I, you know, I didn't even give it, I should have said, so, you know, if I realized I was doing something incorrect, I would have said something, you know, that wasn't, you know, specifically stated that I was supposed to do it a certain way, but I didn't think I was being, you know, non-compliant in what I was doing. So again, I'm getting no puddling, and I'm just hoping that it would.
I think I'm okay because of where the retaining wall is. I think I'm okay that we're not really doing any new harm by doing this. And I think that based on that, they should do an amendment to the existing order, and we'll fix it that way and put some sort of condition in there that makes us feel better.
Yeah, I mean, the wall's a game changer. on that.
Yeah, I think that's right. We're not making anything better or worse after that with that wall being there.
Yep. Okay. Mia, that seems to be the consensus of the commission here tonight.
Okay, the one thing I want to bring up is with an amendment, you would require an amendment if the project got closer, if the limit of work changed or any new conditions were required. So you could possibly entertain this as a project change, an approved project change, or an amendment.
I'm okay with doing that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Because we're not getting any closer to the wetlands. But we do need a plan showing the extent of this in our file. So if Rich, if you could draw up that plan with the actual square footage of what's on there, and then that gives us a new baseline.
Okay. Yep, I'll send something along.
2 questions here. Diane, are you good with this approach, Diane Gouldner?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Mr.
fine.
Reagan, you have no other plans to do anything like this more, right? I mean, you're pretty much going to stay within the scope going forward here.
Yes, I'm gonna yeah, I don't wanna, you're right. I just, I learned something, just don't do anything on a whim. So yeah, I'm going to, not doing any additional.
Okay, so you're looking for an updated plan for Mr. Regan?
And do you want to
And,
advertise this project change on an agenda, or are you comfortable approving a project change during this meeting? It's on the agenda, so anyone interested would have attended.
Yeah, let me double check, and make sure we have any public comment or questions. I don't see anything. No. I'm fine doing it at the meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Any concerns with that approach?
No.
From the commission? No? No? Okay.
You'd be looking for a motion to approve the project change with the submission of a revised plan.
Okay.
I'll make that motion as Mia stated.
I will
Very good.
second that.
Seconded by Kelly. Roll call. Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes.
Todd Helwig. Todd, you're muted, unmuted.
Yes.
Kelly Marston.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
vote yes. You're all set, Mr. Reagan.
Very great, thank you. Have a
Well,
good
thank you
evening.
for working with
Just-
us, and stay close to me, and please don't rent a backhoe for any reason. Go from there. So-
Right. Okay,
And once I get
Right,
that
super.
plan, I can
Thank you.
send DEP the email.
Oh, that's right. We got to close out with them too, don't we?
Yep, they just want an update.
Okay, good, good. And Mr. Reagan, any questions you have, you know, me as your advocate here, so.
Yes, exactly.
Super,
Right.
super.
Very good one.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you. Night.
Okay. There's Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Are you closed? Kelly, you closed? You done?
You said, am I closed?
No,
Me
two more,
too.
two more weekends? One more weekend?
One more weekend. I cannot wait. Yes.
Okay.
One more weekend.
And the flavors dwindle. The amount of flavors you can get dwindle down, right?
Oh my goodness. Right. Yeah. And then you always don't have that one that somebody wants.
Of course. Of course.
Rum raisin.
Almost there.
Take what you can
We
get.
have rum raisin, not frozen pudding. Oh gosh.
Oh, God. All right, good. Good. Thanks, Mia. I mean, I think that was, I think the commission did a pretty good job there making, you know, finding middle ground on that. You know, that retaining wall being there and been there for 40 years. I mean, that's a big difference. So,
Mhm.
okay. We want to go about letters of support. We want to talk to Mr. Phillips here with Watson Park. Why don't we do that?
Which one would you like to do?
Mr. Phillips been hanging around for a while. Let's bring Gary Phillips on. Mr. Phillips, I'm going to promote you to a panelist, Gary. There you are. And there you're gone. There you are. Okay. And you're unmuted.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you. Very good. Very good. So this is an informal discussion about Watson Park Pollinator Garden Plan.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to present today. I'm coming for endorsement for a pollination garden on Lyman Street at Watson Park, and I've got some slides to go through if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so I take it, I trust you're all familiar with the site. It's a history of a butterfly garden there. And so I've got a hobby of native plants. I'm putting in a native plant rock garden in my backyard. And so I contacted Mia to see if there was a spot where I could plant some natives in town. I've been a resident for 15 years. And she suggested the Watson Park site. So the project would be, my goals are to provide a habitat for native at-risk bees and butterflies, install a native pollination preservation garden using 100% native plants from research by Dr. Jagir at UMass Dartmouth. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work, but he's identified, I don't know, 50 or 60 plants that are specifically helpful to our native bees, not honeybees, but our native bees, and to stabilize that ecosystem with the plants, the bees, going forward. And some criteria would be to have a minimum of 24 plants, 1 square meter per plant type. And I've got a plant list to share with you.
Okay.
And with these native plants to install, it's important to feed the bees from March to October with pollen and nectar. And I've got a plan for that too. And lastly, we would like to create a public showy garden for the aesthetics, to get people interested in doing the same in their backyard. And I have a series for outreach, a series of workshops planned for the community to two things. One, teach them how to propagate native plants, teach them about native plants, and also to ask for help growing plants for the garden. project schedule, right now we're in planning phase, and I'm here tonight to get endorsement. And workshops are beginning next month at the library. I've got a workshop in November, all the way through February, and I'll probably do a few additional ones. And the workshops will kick off the winter sow, and that means we're planting the natives from seed naturally outside in the winter, and in the spring they propagate. And then in the springtime, we need to prepare the site, and we'll do that with either solarization or they call it, I think, sheet composting they call it, but for sure no pesticides or chemicals on the site. And then once our plants are grown with a suitable root structure, then we install it towards the end of the summer. And I don't think I need to convince this commission about why native plants are important, but we do want to go all natives. Non-natives they don't offer much to our native bees, and straight species are important to us because cultivars also don't offer much to the bees, and they don't have much pollen or nectar anyway because they're kind of engineered out. When you get the double showy flower, the special colors, you sacrifice the pollen that the straight species have. So with Jagir's list, he's got it broken down into pollen sources and nectar sources, and I've narrowed it down to candidates that we will plant there. And his list includes the sun requirements, soil requirements, and also a visual on the right side when it will be in bloom. So when pollen is created. So you can see here we don't have many choices for May pollen sources. So this pussy willow male would be a good candidate to install in the garden. That way we can begin feeding in March. And you can see we've got 2 choices for April, 1 choice for May. So that would be another important one to have. And then as you get into the summer, there are a lot of other choices. Same with nectar. Like if you want to start feeding in March, then it's this eastern redbud we need to have on site. And then when you get into the summer, you got a lot of other choices. Nectar, I don't want to spend too much time. I'll share the slides with you, or the link to the spreadsheet. But these are all natives to help our at-risk bees. And when we do the workshops, I'll probably create some type of sheet like this, information sheet, to pass out so they can see what the plant looks like, and also other details like the bloom time, the type of sun, soil needed. And we don't want to buy plants from like your box stores because they're treated with chemicals and they're harmful to the insects. So our first choice is to collect seeds from local plants that we know are straight species, and that's what I'm doing. I'm involved in this group in Southborough. We're collecting seeds to distribute in these winter sow workshops to get more of these natives out in the community. So I'm actively doing that. We've got a lot of seeds for free that we can distribute during these workshops. And for plants that we can't source locally, then we can buy them from local seed companies within our eco region. Like we don't buy seed from Minnesota because it's outside of New England. It's in those the differences that are subtle, but they impact the genes of the plant. So you want the plants to flower and produce leaves when the bees and butterflies are expecting that to happen. So you do that by getting seed from local plants or nurseries. And part of the outreach, this is how we're recommending to grow them in these propagation containers. And so we plant them in November, December. We sow the seeds in November, December, January, and put them in containers, tape them up so it makes a mini greenhouse. So come spring, when it rains and snows through the open cap, it provides enough moisture for the seeds inside. And then in the springtime, it has a hinge. So you take the tape off and you can put a stick in the container to make a hinge so it has a proper ventilation and heat control. It also has the proper headspace and just the right amount of soil in the bottom for a root system. So I'm actually preparing all the propagation containers for people participating to make it easy for them. It's easy for me to do. It wouldn't be as easy for the people to who want to grow. So I just want to do that, provide the dirt and the seeds to make it easy for them. These are just some other pictures to share. This is my backyard. I mentioned I was doing a rock garden, pollination garden in my back. It's this steep cliff. I don't like to weed, so I'm terracing it where I can, adding soil and planting the natives. And here's an example of a little nook and cranny that I've got wild bergamot growing. This is called showy tick trefoil. It's kind of I don't think it's a listed plant for the state, but it's definitely not very prominent. It's beautiful. So it's one on the list that we're going to grow. It's not aggressive like your Canadian goldenrod. It's really pretty, and it's one of on the short list of goldenrods for the bees and butterflies. It's the recommended topsoil. It has not much peat, so it's better for the environment to minimize how much peat you're using. And here's an example of the propagation container with the stick. So this would be in spring. You can see the seedlings, and you vent it on these hot days so it doesn't get too hot and bake the seeds. And then this is one where you can see the difference between if you have it taped closed, the mini greenhouse, versus not taped. So you can see that the taping really does make a difference. And when you tape it and keep that moisture in, you don't have to water as often, only if you go couple weeks without any rain. So keep that tape, keep it contained, and the seeds are happy until they germinate. On this sheet are some references where to buy the seeds, information about the winter sow, and one of these this is the plant list. This top one is the plant list that we're using. And I've got a kind of a good story. I'm doing the same at work. I work at a biotech in Framingham, and I want to plant some natives there. And they said, okay, you can, but it has to be from this list that the Framingham Conservation Commission provided. He sent me a list, and it's this list, Jagir's list they've adopted in Framingham.
There you go.
I'm like, I know that list. I'm very familiar.
Wow.
And I did have some questions. I'll open it up to the commission if you have questions for me. But some other questions I have about this site. Maybe we should stop and I'll field any questions that you have before I go on to my other questions that I have for you.
Yeah, sure. I've got a couple, Gary. First of all, this is a terrific presentation and a volunteer effort on your part. So I think the town of Northborough should be very fortunate and thankful that you're doing this. It's a terrific undertaking. A couple questions I have. Who's your workforce? I mean, it's not going to be a one-man band here, is it?
Yeah, no, I've got a small team. There were some other people interested that Mia introduced me to, and from there we've got some people from the garden club
Good.
who are interested. And I've also got some friends local.
Okay.
So we've got, it's a small core team right now.
Okay. Is that core team what you expect to be your audience for the workshops too?
No, it's for the workshops. Initially, it will be, I'm working with the library, and they're doing outreach for in the children's department. So it will be families. That's the initial one. And I'm presenting to the garden club, and I think they get, I don't know, 50 people. And with that group, I'll ask if any of them are interested to participate in the winter sow, and can they grow. So the ask is, if I'm providing free seeds, please donate some back to the garden. And the seeds I'm providing are going to be seeds that we're wanting to grow. So that's how we're kind of doing it on a shoestring budget. I'm not planning to ask for funding.
Okay. So you've got the garden club queued in. That was one of my questions too, because one of our commissioners, Diane Gouldner, is very active in the garden club. So, Diane, is this new to you? Have you heard about this before?
I actually went out to the park this morning and was trying to figure out how big a space are you going to use, because you're cornered by the fence and the road on one side, well, on two sides, and then the tree.
Yeah, that's the
Tree.
space. It's about 24 feet by 24 feet. The space of the previous garden before it was mowed down a couple months ago. So yeah, the tree on the is at the north side, and then the road. But I'd also be interested in planting between the fence and the road for plants that are tolerant to salt. With careful planting, you wouldn't want anything tall there, but just like an introduction, maybe grasses, native grasses on this list.
We noticed there was grass out there, zebra grass. Somebody's planted that, and some lilies or something. It doesn't make much sense as to why it's there, but it is. And I don't know whether are you going to try and clean that all out and then start from scratch, or just fill in?
Yeah, I saw that pretty grass too. It's like a variegated grass, and I looked it up, and I believe that's native, so I wouldn't mind that staying. But the lilies, we'd offer to the garden club if they would like to come and dig it. I think they've got a plant sale in the spring, and they're welcome to dig those. But in the springtime, or maybe now, I'm not sure, if depending on how we do it. But I would want to clean that up. Environmentally friendly way. And just today I learned that solarization, while you're not using chemicals, it actually impacts the microorganisms in the soil. So that may not be the best way. So I'm still planning that. But yeah, the idea would be to prepare the soil, then plant towards the end of the summer once we have basically 1-year-old plants with good root systems.
Are you primarily sticking with flowers as opposed to flowering bushes or flowering trees?
Yeah, shrubs, trees like the red bud, and shrubs. But this is a full sun location, so plants that require partial shade or shade, like shrubs, I would come back and ask if there's some other areas nearby, like behind me on the other side of this driveway, the road, there's a tree line. Possibly put some shrubs from his list there that don't take full sun.
Okay. Be nice to see it look like this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think people think natives, they think weeds, but they're really showy natives, and that's my plan, is to show this is a native and it's good for the bees and butterflies, and it's pretty.
Sure. Gary, last two questions that I have would be, Have you thought about some press? I mean, this is something that I would think community advocate would pick up on and publish a story, maybe get some more interest going on that one. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of using Southborough as my case study. What they're doing there, we've just put in a pollination garden behind the library, and I think they also got some good PR, like you mentioned. But I mean, when I came to Mia a few months ago, I was thinking it would be somewhere like back in the woods near some creek, but this is a very visible location.
sure it is.
So,
Yes, it is.
and I'm not really interested in that, in like the that kind of attention. But sure, when we get going, I would like mainly I want to do community outreach and knowledge sharing. So however that, whatever I can do with that. And that leads me to one of the questions. If we do get to a point where we want to do a knowledge share or a garden tour, I know there's some parking a bit down the road, but there's also a nice field. And are people welcome to park in the grassy areas here, where we're restricted to the parking at the end by the water?
It's a groundwater protection and a zone one, yeah, for the wells. So they have to park on the pavement. They can park, the access drive is pretty wide. They could park along the access drive or down around the loop. Sometimes people do park in the middle of the loop in that grassy area in the middle, and no one's going to come and ticket them for that. That would be fine.
And Mia, when's that paving start?
Any day.
So Gary, that whole current tarred area is going to be resurfaced. So it'll look better and probably be able to take parking a little bit better too. So.
And another question, water in the area. I've seen remote gardens like this have those water cubes. It's like a pallet with a plastic cube on top for local water. Would that be allowed?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Certainly beats going out there every day.
Now, would you fill them with water, or would you have a collection system?
I don't know how that works. Maybe they get delivered empty, then you get a truck to deliver water. I'm not sure, but from there you hose it to where it's going. Now, being natives, they shouldn't take much water, but when you don't get a lot of rain for a month, then you might need to water. But we shouldn't need that much water. And I don't know if that's going to be just a temporary thing until it's established, then it can be removed. I'm hoping. But this is not my field of expertise, so I'm learning as I go. But I've got a lot of energy, and I'm excited to put it in and figure things out as I go.
Gary, last question I have is, what about funding? Do you have any funding requirements?
Not initially. Like with these workshops, I'm providing the seeds, and we're figuring out funding as we go. Like I don't think the seeds are going to be an issue, but like that water cube, I don't know what that costs. If we can get it donated, I'm still sorting that out.
Okay.
But as far as the initial install, I don't anticipate any capital needed for that, because the seeds were growing, the plants were growing from seed. We've got existing dirt on the site. I'm not expecting to bring in topsoil. Just that water is the only capital expense I can think of, and I'll figure that out.
Okay. Well, stay in touch with me on that, because this is something that this is Land Conservation Commission in a sense controls, and it's a net benefit to the town of Northborough, and we could possibly scrape together some small funds if needed, depending what the requirement is and what it's for. So just want to keep that door open. Is that reasonable, Mia? I mean, we're not gonna.
Yeah. Oh, I found the picture. It's a little complicated. Let me see if
You want
I
me
can.
to stop sharing?
Yeah. This isn't the one I was looking for. I'm a member of the Holden Garden Club, and we just gave a school a grant for something similar to this here. It's just like a little 4-post with like a little piece of clean roof that goes down into a rain jug. I mean, the scale started, this is a 55-gallon drum. So this looks tiny, but a person could stand under here. It's probably 8 feet high. And so the little roof with a little gutter on the end, and that just is a clean rainwater collection system, and it goes into a rain barrel. And we could just get a few rain barrels. And then a solar pump is like $100, or you can just raise them up a little bit, put a hose on the end, and let gravity do the watering.
Wow, that's clever.
So I could get the design from Holden and see how much that, and maybe we have one at the community garden. But a rainwater collection system isn't, I think it was $1,000. So it wasn't a ton of money. And then our trails committee, we have a lot of materials like wood and pieces of shingles and things like that. It makes it sound like a junk pile. It's not, it's materials. And then Gary, we've also created a relationship with Bigelow Nurseries. We reached out to them and just said, you know, can we ask this? So with the commission's permission, I'd like to draft a formal ask letter for the donation of plants. And Pat Bigelow called me and told me she was very excited about this project, and she wants to donate plants in the spring. She wants to work directly with Gary. She's familiar with the Jagir list, and she's a member of the group in Southborough that Gary's been talking about. So she's very excited to donate the plants. And so if Gary spends this fall, you know, in the spring, and then when he gets to the spring to see where the gaps are in his supply for the plants, she would like to work to fill that in.
Great. Good. Good. All right. Any more questions from the commission? Good stuff, Gary. Good stuff.
Yeah.
There's one more thing is we do have to make sure that we stay out of that zone 1 for the well. There is a drinking water well over there that is still online. We do sell raw water to Westboro from it. If there was ever an emergency and we had to go off MWRA, that would be the town. It's still a drinking water well. And then Gary, you had sent a picture of those 4 pipes. Those are monitoring wells for the actual well. So we just want to, but you know, we're not planning on using any chemicals. But as far as the zone 1 has to be mowed flat a couple times a year so that small animals don't build their nests there. Can't have them living and pooping near the well.
Yep. Don't want that. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and efforts, and good luck. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, and Gary, also, we went to 85 West Street where the driveway before they scraped it, and we harvested a bunch of native plants from there, and he's already planted them at Watson Park.
Nice.
Yeah, Diane, you may have seen that behind the rock. I've got them temporarily planted there. We rescued those before the bulldozer came.
Okay. I did. Yep.
Super. All right. Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night. All right. That's a great effort, Mia.
There's so many people call and they say, you should have pollinator stuff. And I say, I've got just the spot for you. And they say, I'll get back to you. And Gary was just like, I'm coming.
All right, let's talk about Solomon Pond vegetative management. I'm going to bring in Dominic. Promote you to panelist. Dominic Marengolo. Is that correct? We're close, I hope.
Yeah. Hi, folks. Can you hear me?
You sure can.
Hi. How you doing tonight?
Well, we've been here a while, but
Yes.
we're okay. We're all right.
You gave me a couple extra hours to work here tonight while I was on the computer waiting. So
There we go. So what's going on with Solomon Pond?
So the Pondview homeowners contacted us a couple years ago. We went out and did a survey, a vegetation survey of the Solomon Pond, and we have a report that we're going to attach to the NOI, so you'll have that information. But they're just looking to do some limited plant management around the dock areas We're gonna do currently planning on doing some limited hydro raking and some limited chemical treatment, herbicide treatment of basically mostly the lily pads in about an acre or so of the shoreline. So I mean, essentially the entire shoreline has aquatic plants in the littoral zone. There's mostly water lilies, but there is also some submerged pondweeds, robin's pondweed. Certainly, overall, I think the pond ecosystem is really nice. We're just trying to open up a couple areas. Not only will that help the homeowners, but also provide some edge habitat, thinning out some of that vegetation, help to prevent some eutrophication in that area as well. But it's a pretty limited project. It'll kind of be ongoing. There'll be monitoring and reporting tasks as well every year. And
When will we see the NOI?
I'm sorry?
When we're going to see an NOI in this, it sounds like?
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, unless you guys have it, that's what our plan was. But if you folks have any concerns, or we figured an NOI would be required, so we're already kind of putting that together. So we should be able to get that out to you guys pretty soon. I think we just Mia wanted us to just come before you to have a kind of a pre-filing discussion.
Good.
Did you find a lot of water chestnuts over in that one area? I know when Wayne Baldelli was on the board here, that was his big concern, was the water chestnuts.
Oh, geez. I mean, we didn't see any during our survey, but we haven't been out there since. So certainly if we see water chestnuts, the first thing we would recommend doing is hand pulling. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But in the 2019 survey, we did not observe any water chestnuts.
Good.
We definitely don't want those in the pond. Those are. Do you folks see any concerns that you want us to make sure we address, or is there any specific information?
I mean, I can't think of it. I know that when you come back with NOI, we've got a couple commissioners that are not here tonight. They may have some comments, certainly, but we've worked with you guys for a long time, so I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little background, it is a great pond, but there's no public access. And so it's technically owned by the state and managed by the town. But since there's no public access, Pondview Way has come in the past, and we've had, I don't know, or I attended their meeting, and we've discussed, and the commission discussed too, if there's no public access, then the commission won't be spending any money on the maintenance because it doesn't benefit the whole town. It's technically private. But then the other thing was, I just wanted to make sure that the commission was comfortable with the limited, I am comfortable with the limited limited treatment, because there's specific spots that are very troublesome. From reading the report and from what I've talked to with people at Solitude, is that the pond is very healthy, but the outlet gets clogged, and there actually was some dieback and clogging and eutrophication in that area, and it's growing year by year. So that area does need, so I was looking forward to them spending some attention and time and money on that area to keep the pond healthy.
Clean up the outlet area, yeah.
But I don't think there is a long-term management plan. And I think, we want to see how the pond reacts to these spot treatments. It's very deep. It's what, 70 feet deep, Dominic, is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes,
So
spring fed.
Yeah, the littoral area, where plants grow is pretty limited to just right around the shoreline, because it does get pretty deep. So
This is a very different animal than Bartlett Pond. But I know we had recently done an NOI for treatment at Bartlett Pond, and the commission had really asked for more of a long-term management plan. So I think maybe just for this NOI is trying these spot treatments. I mean, we'll see. One of the commissioners who's missing is Dan Clark, and he does this type of work for DCR as a watershed manager for DCR. So, when you send us the PDF of the NOI, we'll make sure that I give him a heads up. Like, I usually put everything in a shared file that people can go look, but I'll make sure I tap Dan and that he takes a closer look, and maybe he can help me provide comments prior to the meeting.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
We talking, do you know, we talking November, December for the NOI, or you don't have a date yet?
Well, I think your next meeting's what, the November 8th. So we're gonna need to get that in pretty soon, but I think we have most of it ready. So Mia, what's the deadline? I'm sorry, for the November 8th
No
meeting?
problem. It would be,
October 22nd, I think.
yep, October 22nd, 2 weeks at a Friday.
You know,
It's Friday.
yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. So, but you know, we're
Well,
not in a
December's there
rush.
too, so
Obviously,
there you
we
go.
have the whole fall, winter to do the permitting. So I expect maybe we'll end up being coming in front of you for trying to get things lined up for I'm assuming if you have a December meeting, that's probably the one we'll shoot for.
Fine.
We're here every month.
We're here every month, that's right. All right, super. No more questions then. We will, I don't believe, let me double check the public here, see if there's any. Nope, I think we're good. No hands up or so forth. All right, I think we're good, Dom.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the update. We will see you sometime in the next 8 weeks or something like that.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Thanks, good night.
Night.
Okay, last but not least, we got 2 letters of support, Mia, correct?
Yeah.
With anybody on the line for that? I'm looking, I don't see, I see one person. No
it's
hand
me.
up. Sorry?
Trails Committee is meeting right now, so I think you're stuck with me. I sent Kathy to their meeting, or asked Kathy to go to that meeting. Do you guys remember the accessible trail behind the senior center? It's not ADA accessible, it's accessible. Volunteer groups went out there removing limbs and boulders and tried to make it, more flat. It does need to be walked in if you guys are looking for a place to walk. It's hung by little pink flags. This is the layout. It's a nice walk. I try to walk it every time I have to go to the senior center just to get some foot traffic in there and pat it down. So the goal is to design this up to ADA standards. So hire a landscape architect to put in the correct slopes and distances and rest areas to bring it to ADA standards. We got a price of about $28,500 to do that design. And then once we get that design, I will prepare an NOI for it because it's going to be paved. So I'll prepare an NOI, bring that in. Once we get the order of conditions, the project will be shovel ready. Once it's shovel ready, because I've been looking for funding for this all year. Every opportunity I see, I contact the funding organizers and I say, is this a project eligible? And they just say, it's not the right project for our program. But once it becomes shovel ready, it will be much more attractive. So then I'll spend another year trying to get funding. And if I can't find any, then we'll go back to CPC. But the plan is it's about $250,000 to do the work. But it's, hopefully we'll get some funding for that.
Okay.
And the trails grant, or there's other funding sources. See if DOT comes out with any programs like they did last time, or get one loop done with the AARP because it's the senior population.
Okay.
So that's the first application. This is Trails Committee's applying, and we're just looking for a letter of support. And the reason we need a vote is because this is on your land. So This is conservation land.
Well, didn't we addressed this once already, I think, with an ADA compliant trail, and we supported it then, but I think the funding dried up or fell through.
Yeah, we applied for a DOT grant and we didn't get it. Northborough doesn't compete well in grants because of the high median income and no negatively affected populations. We don't have any environmental justice. We don't have a big poverty. We don't have many minorities. So we can't click a lot of the boxes.
All right.
We get out competed.
Any questions, concerns from the commission on this letter?
No.
No, I think that's the right approach. The more shovel ready, like to Mia's point, we can get it, the better we'll look for those grants, certainly when they start coming out, hopefully.
And it's already there and it's already being maintained. We just want to bring it up because Northborough doesn't. We're getting an ADA park at Assabet that's started construction, and the town common is ADA accessible, but we don't have any ADA accessible trails. So this will be our first one.
So it's a letter of support for the expenditure, but in the end of the day, it's the CPC's decision.
Yes.
Okay. I have no issue. If there's no other issues, then we need a motion to move forward, unless there's issues.
No issues. So moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Seconded by Diane. Roll call. Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you. The second application is for the Aqueduct River Bridge. It was posted on the agenda for relocation of utilities. I don't know if you guys know, I used to work in drinking water and wastewater. So I did construction oversight and project management there, but they were small projects. It was like an upgrade of a pump station or the installation of a water main or the rehabilitation of a tank. So they're small. So this is a much bigger project. So I was really, Mia, the project manager, was trying to break this down and looking at everything we've done historically as to what the next step is. And I thought it would be relocation of utilities. We do have an internal requirement here at Town Hall that it goes to the town administrator's office for approval prior to going to the CPC application, anything from our boards and committees. So this was like last Thursday, the relocation of utilities went to the town administrator, and they pointed out that that it really should be a different scope. So the current scope is to hire a consulting engineering firm. And we've contacted Stantec because Stantec has done a structural inspection of the bridge. So they already have a lot of the data for it, to do a full preliminary design of the decking, railings, relocation of utilities, which would then be created into an application package, because we do have an existing 8M permit. Do you guys remember in 2013? It took about 10 years for the town to get pedestrian access over the aqueduct. Phase 1 was Marlboro to the bridge. Phase 2 was the bridge up to Berlin. This is phase 3. So the 8M permit says that we have to create this application. We've already been granted the access, but we have to show them how we're going to prepare the bridge. And so this is beyond my capacity. I could work with Grid for the relocation of utilities, but I cannot design decking or railings or a site access from both sides. It's going to have to be ADA accessible, which is good news. So hiring that consulting engineer. So we don't have a price yet, because Scott Charpentier and I redeveloped the scope Friday and this morning. This is like very recent. So Kathy Joubert, the town planner, she said this can come back to you again next month with a number, but I wanted to keep you guys up to date. The deadline was November 4th, but she said, we have a draft application. It's just missing that cost estimate from Stantec. And I'm pleased that the project managers in town are looking at this project with a wider lens than I was, that we're going to actually go for a bigger step than what I was shooting for. So.
Sounds like a big number at the end of the day here.
We asked Scott, so Scott Charpentier, he's a PE and a project manager, he prices projects all the time. He's thinking, 75 to 100,000. And so it would be a CPC application to hire that consulting engineer. And that's for design plans, like stamp plans for the decking, the railings. The relocation of utilities, Grid has to do the design, but it's coordination between 3 utility companies and getting them to actually submit those plans and get them incorporated into our application to MWRA, which would be another part of the scope of this consulting engineer. They'd have to create the package to send to MWRA for their approval.
Okay. Any questions, concerns from the commission? No comments. So we take that as support for the letter. Again, same as above. This is our endorsement. It's not our final decision. So
You don't have, yeah. I mean, if you'd like to issue a letter of support, you don't have to. The town administrator would like to not take ownership of the bridge. Or originally, when I was working on it, I thought we were going to have to take, MWRA wants us to take ownership, and that would be the Conservation Commission. You would own the bridge.
We own the bridge, but
We're not, that's not the plan right now. That's not the plan.
okay. So you're not looking for a request for letter of support.
We are, if you'd like to, but if people are like, I want to see how this plays out, you don't have to, it's optional. The other one, I
mean, this-
needed your letter of support because you own the land.
This is like the starting point. I mean, if the numbers come back and they're $1 billion, we might have a different position for whether we go forward.
Similar projects were about $1 million. The Wobbin arches, we have 8 arches, and I think Wobbin was like 17. Like it's a little more than double ours, and that was 1.2 million for decking and railing.
Okay.
The Bogastow, if you want to look at what the Trails Committee is thinking, they're thinking of the Bogastow Bridge. That was an
No.
stone arch bridge.
I want to watch the Red Sox game, so I want to move on.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I'm not going to share
Okay.
anything. Just you Google
Todd, what do you
later.
think about this? What's CPC's appetite going to be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think this is one of the more important projects around, for me, or in my view anyway. So I would like to see it get priority over some other stuff, but I can't say how everybody else is going to do it. And I still have no clue what we're doing about White Cliff.
So happy that's not my department.
Okay. Well, Mia, what do you need from us? I guess is the question. If you want a letter of support, we can try and vote that. If you want, just
I
move
would
forward.
like
We
one.
should do. I think we should do a letter for it.
Okay. All right. So
I'll
let's
make
do a
that
motion then.
motion. To issue a letter of support.
Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Todd. Roll call. Justin,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes,
Todd,
yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
All right.
All right.
Might be a while, Mia. Hopefully you have a good contact there at Grid to work with, because that could
Trying
take a
so
little time.
hard. This isn't going to be next year.
Yeah.
They move slowly.
No, I
They
think
move
it's great
slowly.
though. I think this is great.
All right. Anything else we need to know about me or anything else coming down the road? I mean, we have a couple of, are we going to see at Zero Hudson next month, you think, or is that still
I have no idea. Yeah, I haven't gotten any revised plans.
okay?
how long have they been at that? I was trying to look it up tonight,
I have it right here. I can look that up.
like months and months and months.
Oh, sure. Yeah, at least 6
Easily.
months, I bet. At least 6
Well-
months. We first looked at that beginning of the summer, I think, or springtime.
But they had that lady come, I looked back far enough to find out they had someone come in and talk about developing that piece of property.
February. They were on the
Yeah.
agenda in February.
Yeah, it's a long time back.
Yep. All right.
What's holding them up?
I don't know if they're keeping their cards very close. I do request, revised plans at least 1 week prior to the meeting, and I just get a response to it with a request to continue.
Okay,
It is what it is.
yep.
Anything else coming down the road, Amelia, you know about?
No, Howard Street's planning on coming in next month.
What's that?
The pasture, Howard,
Oh, yeah,
190
sure.
Howard Street.
Sure.
They,
Okay.
yep, they were hoping to come in this month, but the plans aren't ready yet, so hopefully they'll come in next month.
What about the selectmen's vote on Whitney Street? Any word on that?
It's been withdrawn. Yep, it was taken off the agenda for tonight for the right of first refusal for 429 and 432 because the purchase and sales we finally received it in writing. Not finally, we did have another progress meeting with the prospective buyers, but we did receive in writing from the owner's lawyer that the purchase and sales are no longer valid, so they're withdrawing.
Okay. All right, so the buyer's backing out?
Yes, and we got no information. We don't know what happened.
All right. Anybody else have anything you want to bring up? Go to Ullman's on the weekend. We know we have that. We know we have that. Anybody not going to be here in November that you know of now?
What's the date in November again? It's
November
early,
8th. It's early.
right? Ooh, I'm not gonna be here. I'm in Disney. Well, I could be here, but realistically, I'm not gonna be here.
Kelly's out. Okay. All right, we'll stay. Once things come up, we'll reach out. Excellent. Do we need a motion to, unless you have anything else, maybe we're going to adjourn.
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay,
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
seconded by everybody. Roll call, Justin,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Todd,
Yeah.